This show is part of the RetroZap.com podcast network.
Action! We've hit record. This is what you can look forward to on episode 140 of Skywalking Through Neverland.
Who doesn't think when they're watching Revenge of the Sith, where's Ahsoka?
Because if one thing we've learned is that Jedi always find themselves in the midst of trouble.
Happy Halloween.
I would love to see that in Central Park. Like, people just riding tauntauns.
You know, stormtroopers are chasing you. Doesn't that sound fun?
I think it sounds fun if I didn't have to get up.
Happy Halloween.
Even my son said those look like zombies.
Did they smell like gingerbread?
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls.
Hello, Skywalkers.
Listen.
Welcome to Neverland.
I only hope that we never lose sight of one thing, that it was all started by a mouse.
Wow. Oh, what?
You are skywalking through Neverland.
Hey, Skywalkers! Welcome to Skywalking Through Neverland! We are the fun-filled, family-friendly Star Wars and Disney podcast that bring you entertaining stories from the creators and fans. And a big thanks and a giant Wookiee hug to our family of Skywalkers who listen to the show every week, post on our Facebook group, and spread the positivity about our adventure through fandom. I am Richard Wolosky, your tour guide through fandom. And now everyone, please say hello to my pumpkin pie sweetie wife, Sarah.
That's me! And why are you calling me that? It's not because I smell like pumpkin pie.
Well, yeah, you kind of do.
Oh, well, that's because I was just making the first pumpkin pie of the season. Ah.
And since we were just recording a future Halloween episode with our ghost host here, Dave Scale. Dave, say hi to everybody.
What's up, everybody?
We said, Dave, if you make this segment really good, you get pumpkin pie.
I
Yes.
got pumpkin pie.
Yeah, he already got it, so he better be good.
Pressure.
All I can tell you is the pressure's off. I already had my pumpkin pie.
Well, we want to acknowledge our Periscope walkers who
Our
are
scope
watching
walkers.
us. Yeah. And also everyone on Twitter who's always saying hi and supporting us throughout all of social media. You guys are tweet walkers. You guys are scope walkers, and we love you all. And we got some hearts for that. Yay.
Yeah. And once again, we are being joined by our ghost host, Dave Scale, right over here.
Hey, everybody.
So do you want to give them a little bit of a preview of what we just recorded for our next week's episode?
Most people are familiar with the Haunted Mansion, but what a lot of people don't know is that Disney's Hong Kong's version of the Haunted Mansion is totally different.
So, Skywalkers, do your homework. Look into Mystic Manor.
Yeah, at Hong Kong Disneyland.
Yeah, we get some big guns in on this episode, too.
Yeah, not just Dave.
Not just Dave, no. Dave's knowledge on Chinese art only went so far, so we had to go and get an official professor from the University of Hawaii.
We did?
But that's next week. But this week, we are recording from Long Beach, California on October the 11th, 2016.
Now, coming up on this episode, we will be getting the lowdown on New York Comic Con from Amy Ratcliffe herself.
We also have a spoiler-free review from Jocasta Drew of the new Ahsoka novel, which just comes out today.
Woohoo!
And as we saw from Matt Clifton, he's on his way right now to see Ashley Eckstein at one of her signings in Florida.
Yeah, he's already there with a couple of our Skywalkers, including the Chica Fence, because they posted a picture in their Facebook group.
Nice.
Now, also on this episode, we have Louella Laureola, and she's here to tell us about her night at Mickey's Halloween party at Disneyland, and most importantly, about the new parade, which features Haunted Mansion things.
Yeah, normally we go to this, don't we, Dave?
We do. It's our annual tradition until they start telling us we can't dress up.
Yeah. but Louella's got some useful information.
Yep.
Basically, we shouldn't have listened to Disneyland.
Yeah. So
I was all worried about the secret squirrel aspect. And
Who's that? Secret squirrel.
You know,
Right?
when there's something that you shouldn't do and you still do it, he's right there on you. You turn around and there he is.
I was hoping to dress up as Secret Squirrel this year.
Oh, that would have been nice.
Oh, that would have been fun. All right. Well, also on this episode, we have shout-outs, Skywalker of the Week, a Journal of the Rich, and
Things we want to share.
Things we want to share. Things we want to share. Things we want to share. Things we want to share.
All right, big news coming in for Star Wars Land.
Yay! Now, okay, so this comes from MiceChat.com. Why is that so hard to say?
MiceChat.com.
MiceChat.com.
Very, very hard.
Okay.
I had a lot of trouble with that one.
Okay. Well, it comes in from this. So this is not official news. This is basically rumors from a trusted source, who's probably working on the project. Okay. So at Disneyland, we got some insider info from MiceChat.com about Star Wars Land. Now, there's going to be line queues. Now, as you know, at Disneyland, they've been trying to up this game, right? For queues, for lines.
And making it more immersive.
Right. So apparently the lines for Star Wars Land for the 2 rides will be even more immersive than ever. It'll be more like guided tours through long plot-filled stories that take guests through multiple environments before they even board their ride vehicles.
Yeah, this sounds like I want to get in line just to see the stuff in line.
Yes.
It sounds like Star Tours, The Line.
Right? Exactly.
Yeah, so it really hypes up the story before you get there, but now it seems like it's going way above and beyond. Like with Star Tours, you get to see all that fun stuff.
Yeah.
This sounds like it's taking that and jumping into hyperspace with it.
Exactly. And Werewolf Cowgirl on Twitter, or Periscope says, so we're all going to live in Star Wars Land, right? Yes, that's absolutely correct.
Yeah, we're already having our mail forward
yes.
there.
All right, and so now there's a ride that they're calling kind of the Stormtrooper Battle Escape Ride, or behind the scenes they're calling it Alcatraz. Like the Imagineers are calling it Alcatraz. So we have some more details on this. Once again, this is not confirmed details, but this is through MiceChat.com. And basically it is rush to your wireless and trackless vehicle and board, and then disembark and reboard the vehicles on different levels of a massive ride building several times during the course of a long experience, and all while you're being attacked by stormtroopers. So basically, think of yourselves as riding Pirates of the Caribbean, right? You start in that boat, and then let's say you get to the area where you're in the cave with the gold, right? Well, then you unboard it and explore the cave somehow. Somehow you're led through this, and then you reboard your ride, and you ride the boat along some more, and then you unboard when you get to, like, the village that's on fire or something, and then you reboard again.
This sounds like a lot of work.
Yeah,
it does.
Funny. Because if you think about it, the old Universal Studios tour, when you're on the tram, you're like comfortable on the tram, and then you have to stop and get up, and you're like, I like this seat.
After spending how many hours in line, the last thing you want to do is get up and get down and up and down.
But if you're being, like, stormtroopers are chasing you, doesn't that sound fun?
I think it sounds fun if I didn't have to get up.
Okay. Well,
I'd be like, Stormtrooper caught me again.
Apparently, the WDI, Walt Disney Imagineering, is creating kind of a large-scale elevator that will help make this attraction. So it features multiple levels. So let's say you're on this elevator, and then you're like, you open on one level, and then you all go out, and then you go back in, and then you go down. So that's what that giant pit is that they're making in the middle, in the back of Star Wars Land over there that we keep on seeing. No, it's much bigger.
Oh, that's interesting.
Much bigger than a
whenever we take a video, Sarah, over at Disneyland, I always thought that hole was going to be where the Millennium Falcon was going to sit.
Right, no.
But it now seems like I was way off.
Yeah.
That's going to be the Stormtrooper escape ride.
Right. Yeah, so I think that right there is going to be a whole big ride with multiple levels, so that's going to be awesome.
Yeah, this sounds like a ride that'll take you a good 30, 35 minutes to get through.
Unless you sit.
I don't know. I guess we'll find out. All right. Well,
I'm just gonna be like, I ain't moving.
So that's some of the
Dave again, sir. Is he still sitting there? Yes, he is.
I'll be like, you're gonna have to carry me out of this ride.
So that's some of the tidbits and pieces that I wanted to bring up from that MiceChat.com article. Now, there's a lot more information in that article that gets a little more detailed. So if you want to check that out, head to MiceChat.com, search Star Wars Land. I'm sure you'll find that article.
Sir, he's eating a frozen banana again.
Yeah.
Yeah, that must be Dave Scale.
They're going to be like, where's my pumpkin pie? I did a kick-ass episode.
Keep it clean, man. Keep it clean. Okay.
All right. Well, once again, we're looking forward to that in the latter part of 2018, correct?
Yeah, that's kind of the rumored start date.
Okay, well.
According to construction people.
And there's already a big line over there waiting to get in.
Right? We're part of it.
Yep. And if anyone else is at Disneyland or Disney World, take a picture of themselves in front of the gate.
Yes.
And then send it over to the Skywalking Through Neverland Facebook group page, and you get to hashtag it.
Hashtag Star Wars Landline.
So if they go over there to the Facebook group and they put in Star Wars Landline, will they be able to see the pictures we've already posted?
So hashtags normally work more for Twitter than Facebook group.
But if they put in Star Wars Landline for people like Dave, who doesn't really know how to work Twitter, and by Dave I mean me.
I know how to work it.
So are you talking about
Sarah to do it?
Are you talking about the group?
Yes. So if people want to see, or is there an album already set up?
That's a good idea. So in the group, what you can do is actually search the group only. So you go to the group page, and then there's like a search button, and you can search like Star Wars Land and see what posts pop up.
Okay, but we will be making an album, right, Sarah?
That sounds like a good plan.
All right, good.
Yes.
All right, what else do we want to share?
Okay, we want to share the Tangled TV show gets its first trailer. Yay! So it's actually entitled Tangled the Series. So, of course, everyone in the universe on social media tagged me with this, which was awesome, because they know I love Rapunzel. So,
and that's why you're wearing your Tangled shirt right now.
Yay, my Rapunzel
shirt. A little
shirt.
foreshadowing.
I know. So I'm excited. I mean, it was literally like a 15-second trailer, but you kind of got to see the animation style. So let me give you a little background of this series, just so you have an idea. It's coming to Disney Channel in February 2017, so we don't have long to wait, really. And, of course, returning from the film is Mandy Moore, who is playing Rapunzel, and Zachary Levi, who is playing Flynn or Eugene. So I'm so excited. And also, we will get music, new music in this series, and it'll be by composer Alan Menken and lyricist Glenn Slater, who also worked on the Tangled film.
Rapunzel, Eugene, Pascal, Maximus, and... Whoa! The hair.
Surprise!
She's back for Tangled, the series, coming to Disney Channel.
I'm so excited.
Sarah, what's the most exciting part about that trailer?
You know what? It's her hair.
And?
It's back.
And
it's blonde.
And
Rapunzel is back to blonde. I keep on thinking of that Back in Black song, but it's back to blonde.
But the first time we see Rapunzel in this trailer...
Oh, yes!
What is she holding?
She's holding a hoo-jib. And or a little bunny rabbit.
She's holding a little gray bunnies.
I know! See, yay! Team hoo-jib.
Hashtag Team hoo-jib, werewolf cowgirl.
Yes! So, okay. So, her hair is back. Now...
That'd be funny if they just gave her a crew cut.
Well,
we're going in a whole different direction with this.
I know. So apparently, like, the internet Disney people blew up over this and were like, why is her hair blonde? Blah, 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 blah. Should be brown, blah, blah, blah. There's, like, a lot of complaints on the Disney, like, Facebook, post of this thing. And for me, like, that didn't even cross my mind. I just because I love her look as Rapunzel with her blonde hair. And, I mean, face it, pretty much all the merchandise of her that's still out there is all of her blonde hair, right? Like, so
there's nothing wrong with brown hair, but she is known for her long blonde hair.
Exactly. I mean, Rapunzel, let down your hair. It's like the first thing you think of. So I asked on our Facebook group, what do our Skywalkers think of this? And so Becca Page, she said, it doesn't bother me. Hopefully they explain it, though. Maybe it's an alternative universe, is what she said. Now, when I went to further look into Tangled the series, it's actually set between the movie and then Tangled Ever After, the short where she has her brown hair. Although in the movie she gets her brown hair. So I think they're going to retcon this somehow in the series.
Wait a minute. It's taking place between the film and the short.
Yes.
And the film and the short, she's got brown hair.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's got blonde hair.
Yes.
Well, maybe before the short, someone cuts her hair again and it turns brown.
Maybe.
I'm trying to retcon this.
I know.
think maybe she just dyed it.
Maybe she dyed it, which is, yes, I think Heather Hunt said that too.
And then
yes.
on season 2, she's going to go with the whole Amber Rose do, just shave it all off.
All that I can say is the obsession with the hair color, it's if you got hair, enjoy it. I'm just saying.
Okay, there you go. Well, so I thought that was interesting. And let's see, Joey Pittman, he writes, she's Team Hoojib, which of course she is because she's holding the bunny. And I don't mind her being back to blonde since that's how you normally see her anyways. I'm sure it'll be part of the storyline. Glad the Disney Channel is actually making Disney shows again. Which,
Something
yes.
tells me they're not going to bother retconning this. She's got blonde hair. Move on.
That's her character.
Yeah, exactly.
We're Disney. Deal with it.
Well, they did. I mean, in the trailer, they did kind of mention, and the hair, it's back. You know, they made a reference to it. So I think they will acknowledge it in some way.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I think that might have been the acknowledgement.
Yeah.
And
if you looked at the small print, it did say her, and the hair is back. It's blonde. Deal with it.
Yeah, and Werewolf Cowgirl, Amanda Bond said her hair is magical. And Kai Charles says on Periscope, it's a testament to the strength of Tangled fans that Disney is trying to make more money off of it. It's true, but it is, I mean, we have, like, the people who love Frozen versus the people who love Tangled. Like, it's a thing. And I'm in the Tangled camp.
Is it like Star Wars versus Star Trek?
Oh, yes.
Whoa.
No, it totally is. Like,
jeez, like in family fighting.
I mean, yes, we all acknowledge that we love Disney, but, like, Tangled is way better than Frozen. And then, you know, half the people now listening are like, no.
Maybe she's got like mood hair. Turns blonde when she's feeling this, brown when she's feeling this.
Wouldn't that be fun? Oh, that'd be so cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, well, we'll have to wait until February of 2017 to find out.
Yes, yes.
All right, now let's get into one last thing in our things we want to share. Have you guys heard of these Cantina pop-ups? Now, we reported on this a couple of months ago, but it's starting to make some more news now.
Yeah, this week, the Scum and Villainy Cantina on Facebook, they kind of updated and actually told us when ticket sales would be available. So this is a Cantina pop-up in Los Angeles, Hollywood specifically. We actually still don't know where it is, and I don't even know if the organizers know where it is yet.
Dave, do you know about this?
I thought it was going to be in your backyard. That's what the website said.
Well, this cantina will transport fans into a fully immersive environment filled with food and drink, friends, and some questionable characters from throughout the galaxy.
In a cantina? Everyone there's on the up and up. I'm not following that.
It's Scum and Villainy Cantina. Come on.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
All right.
I thought it was going to be like Cheers.
Yes. So are you wondering what the price is for this?
I am.
I want to, except I can read it on the screen.
Okay. Well, I was asking you that so you could lead me in and I could tell you.
No, Sarah, what is the price on this pop-up cantina?
All right. It is $50 per person, and that includes 2 drinks of your choice, a souvenir pint glass, an exclusive Scum and Villainy challenge coin, and nightly surprises around each corner. Yes.
All right, so on paper, this sounds awesome.
It does. It does.
And I'm just waiting now to see what it's going to look like true to life.
Right, because
So
50
it's like these Halloween City pop-up shops.
Right.
So now we'll have the cantinas all over LA, and I'm sure they'll spread throughout the country.
I just hope they don't do like what Disneyland did with their little, this is the cantina and while we're waiting for Star Wars Land to be built in the back of the Tomorrowland. And it was like, is this really cantina? It would be, with the...
that little cantina. No, well, this will actually have food and drink.
Yeah.
Are you talking about that little area where you meet Boba Fett sometimes?
Yeah, and it's like...
the hangar bay.
Yeah.
Right.
The lunch bay.
It's like, come on, you guys phoned it in.
Yeah, so this it sounds interesting. If they can pull it off, wow, this is going to be just huge.
Yeah, it's like, do we want to like pay? Because it's a pre-sale on October 12th, which is, after this podcast goes out, or before this podcast goes out. And what the pre-sale does, you still cannot pick a day and time for your experience by getting these tickets. What the pre-sale does is you are slotted into a reserved spot in the virtual line for selecting the time and date of your attendance in early January 2017. So it basically reserves you a spot to select your time. So it's kind of odd. So it's
like you were saying, I'm sure they want to see how many tickets they're going to sell.
Right, what the interest is, because I'm sure they're renting out a space. So it's like, how many nights do they have to rent and everything like that.
Just a weird way to do it.
It is.
Well, it took us a little while to figure that out.
Yeah.
All right, so to break this down, you buy your tickets, and at some point they're going to say, okay, now you can select, but whoever got the first ticket gets first choice, and whoever got the second ticket gets the second choice.
Yeah,
so first come, first serve into selecting what date you want.
Right. So Star Wars Fan FL says, it's a reservation for a reservation. Yes, it is. Like a jacked up fast pass.
All right, so I can see that.
Joey.
However, we want to do a Skywalker meetup.
Yes. So I guess what we're telling people, if you want to meet up, I guess purchase these pre-sale tickets, and then when the tickets become available to actually choose your date, we'll tell Skywalkers, like, okay, this is the date that we would like to do a meetup, basically. So everyone try to get that date.
Yeah, so they go up on sale. When this goes out, it'll have been yesterday, October 12th.
Yes.
So if you can, get them sooner than later, because if we know all the Skywalkers got one of the first groups of tickets, then we'll know that we can get in there whenever we want to pick our own first date.
Right. Exactly. All right.
All right, so I'll look forward to that kind of meetup. That'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, and I think, honestly, the people make the place. So I think if we're all there as Skywalkers in a cool meetup...
Gotta get a fun group in there.
Yeah, it'll be really fun.
Dave, how does this sound to you?
It sounds like fun. It sounds very interesting.
Would you go? Would you pay $50?
I would, except I want to know when the time is, because you know how it is in our line of work. And I'm a little afraid to commit $50 in hopes that they give me a date that I can go.
Well, you can still choose your date. It's just a matter of what dates are available when you get to choose. I think that's the.
Or they could just.
And then there's
buy the tickets first come first serve.
Right, and then there's always the option for the cantina after 11 p.m. You actually can walk in.
Off the street.
Yeah, walk in off the street. So we'll see what kind of line that is.
All right, Southern California, Los Angeles-based Skywalkers and those who want to travel, let's meet up at the Mos Eisley Cantina in Los Angeles, Hollywood. In January. Oh, hopefully it'll be on our birthday weekend.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. That's the Star Wars Run Disney Marathon, the Light Side Challenge.
So we know there won't be anybody there that weekend.
So hopefully this will start the next day. And we can have a birthday meetup at the cantina.
That could be awesome.
Oh, how much fun will that be?
I could live with that.
All right, now one last thing we wanted to mention is that I just had an article published today on StarWars.com.
Woohoo! That's right. It just got published, so we didn't even write it in here.
So I wrote this specifically to tie in with the whole back-to-school season, so to speak.
And it's October.
And it's October, yeah. So I'm sure someone's going back to school at some point sometime soon. But what this article is, I've always had a huge fascination with the Star Wars vintage lunchboxes. But which lunchboxes came out what year? What lunchboxes had what thermoses with it? So Duncan Jenkins, a really big help with this, he took pictures of all of his Star Wars lunchboxes, and he had a good guide on his archive site that he has with Gus Lopez. But some of the information that I was going after wasn't on there. Now, he had done a fantastic job in setting up a lot of the makers and a lot of the artists, which was great. I didn't find that information anywhere else. So big shout out to Duncan Jenkins, Gus Lopez, Mark Newbold, who pointed me in the direction of Duncan Jenkins, and Steve Sansweet. I even called the company King Sealy to say, hey, what's going on with these lunchboxes? And they didn't really have much to say because all those records were all lost.
Aww.
Somebody packed them in an old lunchbox.
And they can't find that lunchbox. But I've always loved these, and there's never been a list like this one here. So I thought, hey, you know what? Now's the time.
Yeah, so head to StarWars.com and search Back to School with Vintage Star Wars Lunchboxes. I'm sure you could just search Star Wars Lunchboxes, but that's the title of the article that Richard wrote.
And even as I'm looking at these lunchboxes right now on our monitor, I can still smell that peanut butter sandwich I had packed in that lunchbox.
Ew.
It's a 39-year-old peanut butter sandwich. It was Skippy, so it saves.
It'll look like a Sarlacc now.
Everything to you is a Sarlacc.
All right.
Now that is things we want to share. Wait a minute. Well, hold on. One more thing.
Yes?
For our next few episodes, we're doing our salute to Halloween. And we want to get a Skywalker story or two.
Like a Halloween-themed Skywalker story.
Skywalker story. So who's got one? Is there a Halloween story that really excites you, that you think of the old days, or even the last couple of years? If there's a really fun story you want to tell regarding Star Wars or Disney, let us know, because we'd love to have you on and tell us all about it.
Yes, so email us, share@skywalkingthroughneverland.com.
And now that really is...
Things that we wanted to share. Dum 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 dum.
Wow.
You have our most humble apologies, little Ahsoka. The Council was wrong to accuse you.
You have shown such great strength and resilience in your struggle to prove your innocence.
This is the true sign of a Jedi Knight.
This was actually your great trial. Now we see that. We understand that the Force works in mysterious ways. And because of this trial, you have become a greater Jedi than you would have otherwise.
Back into the Order. You may come.
They're asking you back, Ahsoka. I'm asking you back.
I'm sorry, Master, but I'm not coming back.
Many fans have anticipated this day, October 11th, much like the release of a new Star Wars film, only we're not getting a new film, we're getting Ahsoka, the new novel by E.K. Johnston. Now this covers the young Togruta days from the devastation of Order 66 up to the current Star Wars Rebels TV series.
So here now with a spoiler-free review is our own acclaimed Jocasta Drew. Hey, Jocasta Drew!
Hey, Richard and Sarah. Thanks for having me back. And I had no idea I was acclaimed, so thank you for acclaiming me.
Well, you are now. You now have been knighted.
Yes.
As the acclaimed.
Yes.
Thank you.
But now, speaking of acclaimed, let's talk about this acclaimed character, Ahsoka.
Oh.
Wow.
Now, what did you think when you first heard the news that there was going to be an Ahsoka novel?
So I was super stoked. I was really excited because Ahsoka is this awesome Clone Wars character. I'm a Clone Wars fan. And also she is, for people who haven't seen Rebels, sorry, this is a spoiler, but she comes back in Star Wars Rebels, and she is even awesomer than she was in the Clone Wars. So it was super exciting to have this novel come out that bridges, in some senses, what happens between the Clone Wars and Star Wars Rebels.
Good way of putting that.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's amazing. I mean, Ahsoka is, I think, my favorite character from the Clone Wars. And then I think she just grew in our hearts in Star Wars Rebels, too.
Yeah, do you recall back in 2008 when fans were going, ugh, who's this kid?
Yeah, do you remember?
Get this kid out of here.
Do you remember what to her in 2008, what was your reaction?
I'm conditioned to just love Star Wars.
Right, you just love everything.
Yeah.
You liked Zero.
I love Zero the Hutt, but you know what? Let's stick with Ahsoka here.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, because I'm so eager to talk about this novel because it's the only novel I actually finished.
Yay! From the new canon so far?
From any canon.
Aww.
I'm a slow reader.
You know what? You finished it before me.
I did, and now don't give anyone the details about that, okay?
Okay,
now,
about when I started reading versus when you started reading?
You started 2 months after me, okay? What's your point? The point is Ahsoka. Now, tell the Skywalkers who have not read the book yet what this novel is about.
Thank you. So this novel basically takes place about a year or so after Order 66, and it really tells the story of how Ahsoka becomes part of the rebellion, even though she has been trying to keep her head down and finding herself out in the far-flung, outer rim and trying to stay away from Imperial entanglements. And it's a really great story because of that.
That was one of the parts that I really loved in this book, was the part where we get to see Ahsoka go up against the Empire.
Yeah.
And she's thinking, wait a minute, I may know these people. They were probably once clone troopers.
Yeah.
So just to visualize combining the two different universes of the Clone Wars, which is really the same universe as the Star Wars films, but the two different mediums of television and films.
Right. That's what the books and the comics are really good for, is really bridging that gap. And for me, I think one of my favorite aspects of this book was the fact that Ahsoka after Order 66, we get to see her like immediate reaction and how she's dealt with it and how she's kind of dealing with it in her head and how it affects her. So I really thought that was interesting and not something I had ever thought of before. And what about you, Drew? What was one of your favorite aspects of this book?
Well, in addition to liking the story itself, I liked how they had over a half dozen different sort of flashbacks, as it were. So one is takes place at the beginning of the book, but it's during the Siege of Mandalore, which is something that a lot of us Star Wars fans would entirely love to see. Would be incredible if they did another story arc of the Clone Wars just to finish that off and give us some sense of completion. But we still have a little glimpse. We get to see Darth Maul, which gives us
Well, tell us what the Siege of Mandalore is.
So the Siege of Mandalore, from the snippets that I understand, is Ahsoka is given by Anakin, even after she's left the Jedi Order, she's given a task to go back and fight on Mandalore against Darth Maul, against the Mandalorians who are with him, the Death Watch. Yes. So she's sent back. She's given clone troopers under command, including our favorite captain, Captain Rex, and they go back to fight Maul and the Death Watch. And during the Siege of Mandalore, it's not really clear what happens, but Order 66 is executed, so she has to find herself out. So she fakes her and Captain Rex's deaths, and she gives up her lightsabers, and she tries to make a new life in the galaxy after that.
Which I think is a brilliant way to start this novel, because who doesn't think when they're watching Revenge of the Sith, where's Ahsoka?
Yes. Right.
Now we know where Ahsoka is, and it was Palpatine's plan to split her up from Anakin.
Yeah.
And so now everyone's believing that she's now dead, along with Captain Rex. And like you were saying, she's got to keep her head down, and she's going from planet to planet, just trying to make ends meet and find a new home.
And what does she call herself?
Ashla.
Yeah! Which was her original thought of name by Dave Filoni and George Lucas. So that's pretty cool. Yeah. And that's not a spoiler because we get to know that right away.
Yeah. And this kind of has echoes of the Kenobi novel where Kenobi has got to go to Tatooine and he can't use his lightsabers, he can't use the Force or do anything that'll give himself away as a Jedi. Yeah. And you can really see her inner struggles that she wants to save all her new friends and all her new family. And the only way she can do it is to use the Force. Will she? Won't she? Will she use her lightsabers? It all comes down to that decision she has to make in order to save these people and save this planet that she's now living on.
Because if one thing we've learned is that Jedi always find themselves in the midst of trouble. It's just what happens.
Right. Well, and in as much as Ahsoka wants to stay away from the limelight, right? That's why she goes all the way out to the Outer Rim, is to stay away from that, but she gets sucked in. And it's almost the way in which her brain works. It's been trained through the years of the Clone Wars that she can't help but, put away supplies or find good ground to look upon the city.
Find that exit solution or something. Yeah, that was so interesting to see the way that her inner mind worked.
Yeah.
I liked that.
What did you think of the book structure? Because it has the gray chapters.
I thought that was great to have in there. Yes, that has a little bit of a snippet of the Siege of Mandalore, so we get a sense of that. But even to see, you mentioned the Clone Wars movie in 2008 that was in theaters, but we get to hear what Anakin was thinking right before she arrives. He's like, what's going to happen with Obi-Wan now that he's getting a Padawan? What's going to be my relationship with him? Am I going to train her, him or her? And so those were really great throughout the book to have, not just to break up the action, but also to really give us a sense of what's going on in other parts of the galaxy and chronologically what's going on.
That actually makes me think of Aftermath and those novels because they had those interstitials.
Right.
So I guess we could call these the gray interstitials for Ahsoka because that's what's happening. It kind of completely takes you out of the current story but puts you in a different part of the galaxy with perhaps a different person's thoughts.
Yeah, and with familiar characters.
Yes, which is really cool.
Which is what my big thing is. If I'm reading a book and I don't know who any character is from chapter to chapter, I'll just put it down and move on to the next one. But now here we have Ahsoka, who we all love and really want to cheer for, and we do get to meet some other familiar characters, which I love, once again, when they combine the different mediums and the different prequel generation and the original trilogy generation, and I love how they're doing that and not ignoring one for the other.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
Now, what did you learn about Ahsoka in the book that you didn't know before that made you even more of an Ahsoka fan?
Wow, that's a great question. I hadn't realized that she goes back to Ilum for a second Kyber crystal for her second lightsaber. I just thought, maybe she got them at the same time. So that was really fascinating when we have this sort of flashback of how she got the first. Yeah, how she got a flashback, how she got the first two, and then we have the Clone Wars episode where she accompanies the younglings for her third trip to Ilum. So I hadn't realized exactly that was an entirely separate trip for her to Ilum.
Right.
Yeah, and that connects this novel with some more familiar, newer movies.
Now, you had a theory, Sarah. I think it's more of a theory than a spoiler. Because it's not really said, and I didn't take that away, so I think you can reveal what your theory was.
Okay, my theory about Ilum. All right, if you don't want to hear about my theory, you can fast forward for, 30 seconds or a minute or so. Okay, well, so in this book, she goes to Ilum.
Which we saw in the Clone Wars. Which she brought the younglings to get their kyber crystals to make their lightsabers.
Right, so Ilum is the place where you go for kyber crystals. Well, when she goes here in this book, she sees that, there's several Star Destroyers there. The planet has been carved up. And it's no longer, all the crystals are kind of dead. Or at least that she senses.
E.K. Johnston almost makes it sound like it looks like Tatooine now.
No, it's still cold.
It's still cold, but the way that it's just stripped and down to the core.
Right, yeah.
That's what I meant.
Yeah, so my opinion, Ilum is Starkiller Base.
Ooh.
You didn't think
See, I didn't get that either.
I didn't see where...
That's why I say it's not a spoiler, but more of your theory, which I think is a good theory.
It
for
explains
me, it's
a lot. Totally connects it.
Yeah, it explains a lot.
Yeah.
It could be.
Yeah.
But you guys didn't get that when you were reading it?
Not at all.
No.
Not at all.
But I'm okay. I think that's a pretty cool theory.
Yeah.
Very much so.
I mean, it makes sense because she said it was stripped. It was carved, stripped down to the core. All that stuff that's what Starkiller Base looks like. It's a planet that has been carved out of. So.
Yeah, and we know from the locations book by DK that's where they went for the kyber crystals for the Death Star.
Yeah, that's what made me connect it because we had done that locations book. Then I read that scene from the Ahsoka novel and I was like, oh, bam, that must be it.
Yeah.
All right. Very good. Very good. I once again didn't realize that, but putting all those pieces together, it makes sense.
Maybe we need to tweet at Pablo Hidalgo.
Or Dave Filoni, because we know he'll answer that question.
No, he won't. How about Holocron Keeper? Come on, Holocron Keeper. Tweet at us.
All right. Now, to wrap this up, how would you compare Ahsoka to the other novels that we've been seeing coming out?
Thank you. So I couldn't help but read this without thinking about A New Dawn, which in my fandom was my first Star Wars book, so I was really excited.
Oh, how cute is that?
Yeah. And so there's so many parallels. One is you have someone who rose no higher than the level of a Padawan, and then was no longer within the Jedi Order for whichever reasons, and they find themselves far-flung in the Outer Rim. Also, they're in a blue-collar area, right? You have Kanan in A New Dawn who's in a mining operation, and here Ahsoka finds herself out in an agricultural area, and we have, but ultimately they also share. We have this former Padawan who's now joining up with the rebellion. And so the parallels keep coming up over and over again. But I also think that the mood, right, sort of the tone of the book, is that they share those similarities. And A New Dawn, I think it's a little bit darker, but here, even so, people are in this, this hard, the hardworking town, and they're doing what they can. And the Empire comes in because it's, only a year or so after Order 66. But in A New Dawn, they've been in place.
Right.
So that is definitely a difference. But for me, it reminded me a lot of A New Dawn. I enjoyed this more than A New Dawn, right? Because there's a lot of great suspense. You don't know what's going to happen with the different characters and the action. So I did enjoy this better than A New Dawn, but I kept thinking about A New Dawn.
All right, good deal.
And then now, would we recommend this to anyone who is, may not read every Star Wars novel that comes out?
100%.
Yeah.
I think for a few reasons. One is, in some ways, it's kind of like a Star Wars: The Clone Wars follow-up. As a Clone Wars fan, it's definitely really great. And it's also a great sort of prelude, just like A New Dawn was, to Star Wars Rebels, right? Star Wars Rebels, you find how Kanan meets with Hera, and they join the rebellion. Here we see with Ahsoka joining the rebellion. I'm not going to say who, but there are familiar faces, familiar characters with whom she joins up with the rebellion. And also just for Ahsoka fans. And as someone who, I remember watching Star Wars: The Clone Wars in 2008, and I'm like, but Anakin doesn't have a Padawan in the movies. You know, what happens to her? And then, of course, by the end of the third season, we see with that the Trandoshan bounty hunters or whatever that they're, you know, she really rises. And then the final couple seasons of the Clone Wars, like Ahsoka becomes a really important and special character for all Star Wars and the Clone Wars fans. And so for this, it's really excellent to really see her in action.
And then this goes right into Star Wars Rebels Season 2.
Right. So we have that scene from Siege of Mandalore where you understand where it was that Maul and Ahsoka met before, because they never met in at least the pre-existing Clone Wars stuff that we know until, of course, they decided to release the Siege of Mandalore story arc, which will be incredible.
Well, they're talking about stuff that we know to be true in Season 2 with using Ahsoka's pseudonym. Her cover name.
Oh, yes. So, yes, we get her cover name at the very tail end of the book.
We get foreshadows of Star Wars Rebels Season 2.
Yeah.
Which really bookends it from the Clone Wars to Rebels.
Gotcha.
And for me, that was just perfect.
Yeah.
So if you're looking for a book with a lot of familiar characters and you can really place the time, this is perfect. Now, what age do you think this was geared toward? Because I'm hearing a lot of people say it's like the young adult.
Yeah, I think it is geared towards the young adult. Like teenagers can easily read, maybe, I don't know, if 10, 12.
I think so.
Yeah.
I could have.
Yeah, it's definitely more, the reading level is low enough for a teenager, and there are definitely a few teenagers at the center of the story.
Yeah, that's true.
But at the same time, you know, you can be our age and totally enjoy it. It's totally appropriate book.
Yeah, fully enjoy it.
What recent novels would you say are more of the adult audience target?
Yeah, Aftermath, Bloodline are more adult, and then more of this aging age. You know, the reading age would be like Lost Stars.
All right. Well, this is a fantastic book, which just came out October 11th, so it's a definite must-read.
Absolutely, and woohoo! Thank you, Disney Lucasfilm Press.
And listen for the audiobook coming soon, as read by Ashley Eckstein.
Yeah!
Wow.
We're so excited about that. And I've heard a bunch of people saying how this is the first book that they're going to actually buy it and buy the audio book version as well.
Fulcrum. Ahsoka. My name is Ahsoka Tano.
Why did you come here?
Because of you and your apprentice. Many in this system and beyond have heard your message. You gave them hope in their darkest times. We didn't want that hope to die.
Now, one of the greatest memories I have as a kid was playing Star Wars with my friends and see who was going to play what characters. And, of course, I always got dibs on Darth Vader before anyone else could because that was my favorite. Now, we played so much that one day just rolled into the next, rolled into the next, rolled into the next. And luckily, I saved my journals from the 3rd grade when Mrs. Patterson made everyone write down what they did every day. And as much as I used to fight her on that, apparently she knew better.
I remember, didn't she say that she would say someday this will be important to your podcast?
You know what? She did. Here I am 8 years old going, what's a podcast? But apparently she was way, way ahead of the curve.
Aww.
Now, this here is my entry from the Journal of the Rich and the great adventure that took place on
October 13th, 1977. Yesterday, me and Sean played Star Wars. Me and Sean was the bad guys. It was fun. I was Darth Vader. Sean was a stormtrooper. We went on the treehouse. We freed our men. And Billy played. He was Luke Skywalker. Jimmy played too. He was a Tusken Raider.
Shout-outs, Skywalker shout-outs. Which Skywalkers get props from here in Neverland? Who was tweeted out? Shout out. Who was photobombed? Shout out. Who was shared a post? Shout out.
All right, for our first shout out, Carly Stinger got married in the past couple weeks, and she wanted to share some photos in our Facebook group. And with those photos, she said, in addition to the cake topper and lightsaber arch, I walked down the aisle to the Imperial March, and our first dance was Han and Leia's theme. Aww. And if you look at the pictures, her cake topper is a silhouette of Han and Leia with the words, I love you, I know. Aww.
That is very sweet. Congratulations, Carly and Mr. Carly Stinger.
Yes. In fact, I don't know if Carly is still Carly Stinger or did she change her last name?
Then Mr. and Mrs. Carly.
Yes, there we go.
Of the Skywalker family.
Well, we love that you share posts in our Facebook group. And once again, our Facebook group is a great way for you Skywalkers to get to know each other and meet up with each other, which I love. And that is a closed group on Facebook. So if you want to join that, just search for the group, Skywalking Facebook group. And when you find it, request to join. And then please send us a message to our Skywalking Through Neverland Facebook page and say, hey, I'm not a spammer. Please let me in. I listen to your show.
Easy enough?
Yeah, that's right.
Now, last week we had asked people to send us pictures of themselves as they're listening to Skywalking Through Neverland.
And as of last week, I didn't even think of a hashtag yet, but so many of you responded. We got like dozens of photos of everyone, like listening in their cars while they're running, or people lost in their dark homes.
Or at work.
Yes, or at work, yeah. Or on the couch with their pets. There was so many of them, and so I kind of started hashtagging them Skywalker Selfies. Because that totally worked. My hashtag Skywalker selfie. So, Skywalkers, now's your chance. Now's your chance. What are you doing now? Are you washing dishes? Are you at the gym? Stop. Everyone stop now. And take out your phone and take a selfie. And then tweet it at us at SkywalkingPod and hashtag Skywalker selfie.
I hope you're not driving.
Yeah. If you're driving, wait for a light. Or wait till you get home. Okay.
Yeah. I think people now are multi-talented. They can do both. I don't condone that.
Don't condone that, yeah.
I'm not condoning it, but, if you want to do it, I'm not condoning it, but hey,
I love it. Oh, so let's keep this rolling, you guys, because it's so much fun, and I keep retweeting them, too, so we can all kind of have a big party on Twitter. Hashtag Skywalker selfie.
Now, speaking of a party on Twitter, Roku Depot, they're celebrating right over there by listening to Skywalking Through Neverland.
Yes! So, at Roku Depot is spelled ROQOODEPOT. They are always listening to a ton of Star Wars podcasts every week, and every Thursday they actually review all the Star Wars podcasts that they have listened to that week and post their review on their website, RokuDepot.com. So they review our show every week, and we were very excited to read his last critique. Skywalking Through Neverland reviewed the premiere for Star Wars Rebels Season 3 with a nice focus on the music, which really helps break things up. With so many podcasts out there and all the Star Wars podcasts feeling compelled to review Rebels, it's nice when they can stand apart from the others. Great episode. So I just wanted to read that because it really touches on something that we strive to do with every show, and especially Richard, you strive to do with every show, which is to deliver something different to all of our Skywalkers each and every week that they may not hear anywhere else.
Yeah, that was one of our goals from the very, very beginning.
Or like a different spin on a topic or the news or something.
Right. If people are going to spend their time listening to us, let's make sure that at the end they go, yeah, that was 2 hours well spent.
Right, that was worth listening to.
I did not waste a second of that time.
Yeah, so it's really nice to hear when people actually recognize those steps we take to stand apart.
Well, big thanks to Roku Depot. Thanks for acknowledging us.
Yeah.
Much appreciated.
And hi, Chica Fent. Did you say hi to Ashley Eckstein for us?
Chickafant just joined in on as our scope walker. Is he going to see Ashley Eckstein right now?
Okay.
I don't know. All right, moving right along.
Now, as this final shout out, I want to give a big shout out to all of our Skywalkers. Because for the Force Friday Podcaster Challenge in James Jawa's Wear Star Wars Every Day charity fundraiser, we had some Skywalkers contribute to that charity. So thank you to Brian Sims and Patty Hammond for jumping on the bandwagon for Skywalking Through Neverland. We really appreciate that. And of course, that campaign, Wear Star Wars Every Day, it's for charity. It's ongoing throughout all of 2016. So head to @JamesJawa on Twitter for details. And thank you, Skywalkers, for listening and contributing. We really appreciate that. And so does the charity.
One big happy Skywalker family.
Yeah.
All right, with that, let's reveal this week's Skywalker of the Week.
Lance, Dobersek. Lance, Dobersek.
So congratulations, Lance Dobersek.
Yes, he had tweeted out that he was listening in Milwaukee, and I didn't recognize this tweetwalker, so I went to his Twitter profile, and it says that he's an artist. So I asked, do you listen as you paint or create art? And he responded by saying, yes, worked many hours on the TFA coloring books for DK Publishing while listening to you both. Thanks for the company. And with a picture of one of the coloring books for The Force Awakens that he worked on. Oh my gosh. So that kind of blew my mind because, we're creating this podcast and then it's listened to while people are creating, Star Wars art.
So congratulations to Lance Dobersek. And of course, Dave, as you know, that was composed by Rob Dellinger, who is what? What is Rob Dellinger?
He is the guy who does all the music for Skywalking Through Neverland.
Keep going.
And
he is what?
The John Williams of our podcast.
The John Williams of podcasting. You got it word for word.
Right?
Yes.
Very
Congratulations.
That's what I always say. That's how I had it tattooed on my arm.
Now let's find out what happened last week at New York Comic Con from Amy Ratcliffe.
Tiki cantina. In the tiki cantina. In the tiki cantina. The Woloski's talk and the magic blue. In the tiki cantina. Tiki cantina.
We are excited to welcome Amy Ratcliffe to Skywalking Through Neverland for the very first time. Amy is a prolific contributor to the Star Wars fan community with her articles on StarWars.com, Nerdist.com, and many other geek sites, as well as being co-hosts on Full of Sith and Lattes with Leia podcasts.
And now she can add one more feather to her cap here on Skywalking Through Neverland as we talk to her about the Star Wars news from New York Comic Con. Hey, Amy!
Thank you so much for having me. I can't believe I was thinking, I'm like, this is the first time I've been on here. I'm thinking of fangirls going rogue because I've done that maybe a couple times.
Right.
Yeah.
But no, we had to get you on Skywalking.
And now all
I'm
of our
excited.
schedules are in sync.
Yeah.
Yes.
And looking forward to it. But speaking of looking forward to something, we really wanted to go to New York Comic Con because there's nothing like the New England fall weather. It has the breeze, it has that smell to it. Did you get a chance to get outside at all and experience this?
I was outside a lot because it's one of my favorite things when I go to New York is just to walk forever because it's a walkable city and that's not how Los Angeles is, at least not my part of Los Angeles. But it was not as cold as I wanted it to be. It was a little rainy, which I liked one evening, but when I first got there, it was like in the 60s, and I was like, guys, this is not what I ordered for my fall visit to New York. I was expecting to at least be able to wear a scarf.
Boy, you think those Comic-Con guys would be all on this. All right, here comes Amy. Cue the cold weather. Wear those wampus and tauntauns.
Tauntauns in New York. Yes.
Whoa.
Oh, yeah, you go there in January. That's the only mode of transportation is a tauntaun.
I would love to see that in Central Park. Like, people just riding tauntauns.
Oh.
That would be cool, but stay away from the Wampa Cave,
Yes.
Southeast corner.
Can you imagine if we all got in those inflatable tauntaun costumes and just ran around everywhere?
Oh, wow.
That's a flash mob that needs to happen.
Yeah.
And when someone says, what are you guys doing? We say, what do you mean? What are you talking about?
It's just how we get to work.
Yeah.
You're taking the subway. You're lame.
Wow.
If something happens, we need to spend the night. We just crawl up inside, and I don't. How do you stay warm, dude? All right, now with those future plans in motion.
Yeah. Right.
We want to ask you, what was your biggest reveal this year at New York Comic Con?
Well, it's interesting. There actually wasn't a lot of Star Wars-ness, I guess. Not as far as news happening at the convention.
Right.
I'm thinking, was it last year or maybe the year before Lucasfilm took Star Wars Rebels, and they would have maybe Dave or Pablo and like some of the cast members there. But I think maybe since Celebration was just a few months ago, and they have another celebration coming up in, I know it's like 6 months, but it'll be here tomorrow.
Right.
They're like, we don't need to do New York. I was a little surprised there wasn't more Star Wars like stuff.
Okay. Well, I guess mainly the main panel that was Star Wars was the Writers Roundtable panel. Is that correct?
Yes, that was the only one I heard of. They didn't even, I don't think, do a comics one this year.
Yeah, not that I mean, I was looking for more Star Wars information from New York Comic Con, and the only one I saw was this Writers Roundtable. So were you involved in this panel?
I wasn't. I was working for Reed at the convention. I did some hosting on their live stage. So that's pretty much where I was for most of the convention. I escaped and visited the Del Rey booth for a little bit on Sunday.
Okay.
And that was fun because it happened to be when Chuck Wendig and Timothy Zahn were both there doing a signing.
Awesome.
So, yeah. So if any time to like pop by the booth and hang out, and they kindly let me. They have amazing. It's such a valuable thing at conventions. They have like a double plush, like some sort of padded carpet situation in their booth, so that when you walk in, your feet are just like, ah.
That's what I need.
I never want to leave. Aw.
So yeah, so I did maybe overstay my welcome. I'm like, can I just stand here on your soft surface for a while?
She's still here. She won't leave.
3 hours later, I'm like, I'm just gonna lay here and take a nap. That's fine.
Well, that's New York for you.
So it was fun, and I've been talking with Chuck Wendig on Twitter for a while now, probably at least 2 or 3 years, and I've interviewed him a couple times, you know, like over Skype or over the phone, but it was the first time I got to meet him. So he's just a really funny, like, I love his online persona. Like, that's how he is in person. He's just like a silly, nice dude.
Oh.
Does he have a book coming out?
He just did. Wait, is Life Dead out?
Yes.
Yes. So I was trying to remember. I'm like, isn't he? I'm terrible. I should be up on this too. But he was doing the Force Awakens comic adaptation too, and I don't know where they are in the release schedule with that, like which issue they're on.
Well, I'm sure by getting all the press release books, it knocks your whole schedule out, because we had gotten the Ahsoka book like a month ago, but it just came out yesterday. So it's like, oh, wait a minute, what? Didn't Ahsoka come out a while ago? No, it just came out yesterday.
Yeah, we started to use some of the plot points as like we were discussing it on our podcast last week, and we're like, wait, we can't talk about this.
Oh yeah, we can't talk about that just yet.
Okay, I had that problem too. Like,
Yeah.
I always have to be, and I have a terrible memory on top of that. So it's always like, did this happen for everybody yet? And
Well, now that we've read the Ahsoka book, I'm chomping at the bit for the next big book. So what was the big books that were announced at this roundtable that we can get excited about?
you know, they didn't announce anything new as far as I can remember, except one tidbit, which I very much liked, was that Bones, Mr. Bones from the Aftermath books, is going to appear in the Poe Dameron comic at some point, which I think is super cool.
That is fun. I love when characters cross-pollinate, for lack of a better word.
Yes, and it'll be fun. I think this is the first time we'll be seeing what he looks like.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, because isn't he's an old battle droid, right?
Yes, yes.
That has like an they already have exoskeletons, so I'm not sure how that works. But he's like the droid
like modified somehow.
Yeah, he's the droid in the Aftermath series that has a kind of like he protects. Was it Wesley? What's his name?
Snap.
Yeah, Snap Wexley.
Right, okay.
He protects Snap Wexley as a boy.
Oh, okay,
and he kind of has like a death, not a death wish, but like he's not above murdering people for. Yes, he's violent.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
Some of his comments in the second book, especially, like now that they're kind of working with the rebellion, like watching like him try to fit in, he just always like you can tell like he's the kind of like droid that when he like says one of his like murdery statements, that the other people, like all the people around him, are probably like giving him side eyes, like. Should we be nervous that this droid is going to end us when we're sleeping?
So then he's the successor, it sounds like, to K2SO.
Yes, as far as that's what I'm so excited to see K2SO, because I think it does sound like they're going to have a similar temperament. And I like, you know, we've had R2 and BB-8 and 3PO's like he's a little, you know, what's the word? A little annoying sometimes, but also like they're all really helpful and overall pretty positive. So I kind of like seeing these grumpy sassy droids.
Yeah, I would say the new version of droids, starting with Chopper, are
Yes.
more exactly. Yeah, attitudey.
And I love the fact that they added a battle droid into the Freemaker adventures.
Yeah.
And now he's got
Roger.
he's got a whole new personality. I love me some battle droids. So wherever you can fit a battle droid in, I'm game.
Agreed. And Thrawn. Oh, Thrawn is the thing that's happening. They talked about that.
Oh, they did. Okay. What did they
had
say about it?
Timothy Zahn. Not like just vague things mostly. From what I read, Timothy Zahn, who was there, talked about just kind of getting to bring Thrawn in and how I think he said like he showed up. They asked him to come to Lucasfilm, but didn't tell him why.
Oh.
And so that he needed to meet with Dave. So I'm sure he probably put two and two together or thought that he was in some sort of serious trouble. I don't know if that's like being called to the principal's office or not. I would be terrified.
Yeah, really.
Maybe they wanted to sit him down and say, okay, for your next novel, let's have characters with names we can pronounce.
Without apostrophe.
And E. Salamari. And,
yeah, look at the history. Darth Vader, Han Solo, Luke Skywalker,
Luke.
Princess Leia, even Chewbacca. Very, very easy names to say. What happened?
Just a few syllables.
Yeah.
I had to do. So I thought this really great. A friend of mine did a really great Lady Thrawn cosplay, and she was talking about another Lady Thrawn cosplayer she ran into that used the. And this is where I had to keep saying use the can't pronounce it. Yosemite thingajigs as like her purse, but I'm like every time I told people about it, I'm like I don't even know how you say that. I can't come close. That's too many consonants.
Yeah, I think in my brain I was just saying salamander, but then
yes,
did it Salamari? You know.
But you know what? Brian Young once interviewed Timothy Zahn and said, all I want to talk to you about is enunciation and pronunciation of these names. That's all we want to talk about right now. And I can't remember how most of these names are now pronounced, but I admire the fact that he asked those questions we all wanted to know the answers to.
It's important. Like, I like knowing when I'm reading books. I remember as a teenager, the first fantasy series I read was Wheel of Time, and the names in that were impossible. They were very, like, maybe Timothy Zahn gave Robert Jordan some tips back in the day. I don't know. It's just like, no, I want to know how to say these in my head.
Yeah, because you stumble over these as you're reading them, and it slows down your flow.
Yes, it's not even so much like I want to be right. It's like I just want to stop giving so much focus to how the heck I say this name.
Exactly.
Now, what was revealed about this 40th anniversary book that's still kind of under wraps, but maybe you heard a little something.
Well, I know that the 40th anniversary books, there's going to be multiple of them with like several different publishers involved.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And the Simonsons are, they're both talented comic book creators. And I remember, I don't know without looking it up, but Louise Simonson worked on some Star Wars comics back, when a Marvel originally had the license. So I think that's really cool for her to be coming back, when it's canon.
Especially with Tom Palmer, too. So I'm figuring
Who's Tom Palmer?
I don't know who he is.
Another classic Marvel Star Wars comic book contributor.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I'm thinking, is this more of a comic book thing? But they've already redone the vintage comics. So I don't know. I thought maybe something else had been released, or maybe you heard something backstage, or someone said, Amy, don't tell anyone this, but...
I wish. I'm not that... Either I'm not that cool, or people have known I have no poker face, so I'm okay on podcasts. But that's why I tell people, like, because I watch screeners for stuff I cover for television a lot, and people will do that thing where they're like, what happens to this character? I'm like, do you really want to know? And they're like, no. Then I'm like, don't ask me any direct questions, because even though I may not answer, it'll be on my face and I can't stop it.
Right.
That is a very good note for the future, Amy.
Yeah, which I'm sure you guys run into, like, when you go to advanced screenings, like for Disney films and stuff. I know I saw Civil War a little early, and somebody asked me, like, a direct question, and I didn't answer, but they're like, oh. I'm like, well, you shouldn't have asked.
Yeah, we had seen Age of Ultron right before Star Wars Celebration Anaheim, and people were talking about it, and it's like, oh, boy, do I want to tell you everything? And I only told them about half the stuff.
Yeah, they screened
and
that movie.
The other half I lied.
Yeah.
That happened to me recently at Salt Lake Comic Con. I did a bunch of Star Wars stuff there, and that convention was cool in that, there are a lot of fan panels, but they had Pablo Hidalgo, Leland Shee, and Matt Martin there. So 3 members the story group. So it kind of gave it this, I don't know if official is the right word, but you certainly got some really cool insight. And I was sitting on a panel about Ahsoka with the author of the novel, E.K. Johnston, and Pablo, and Brian Young, and somebody else I think that I'm spacing on, and I feel terrible about that. But somebody in the audience at the end asked a question about, like, I really want to know what happens. And in case people haven't read the book, I won't say the question. But it happens with XYZ thing. And my friend Holly in the audience was like, she's like, you and Brian like scooted back from your microphone so quickly that it was clearly obvious that XYZ thing happens. I was like, oh.
Matt Martin has very easy tells too. I won't say what they are, but if you ask him a question, there's something that he does or doesn't do. They're like, okay, I know I'm on the right track.
Well, this is good to know.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
He speaks volumes without even saying anything. But, you know, speaking volumes, let's hear some volumes of discussion about what you had moderated at on the live stage at New York Comic Con. How was that for a segue?
Yeah, you did it. It was good. It was good. It was really interesting because, you know, like at Celebration, that was just me for the most part. There were panels that other people moderated, but I would just introduce them and leave. And it was all Star Wars focused. And this was, you know, New York Comic Con and Reed partner with Twitch. So they had 7 of their hosts. And I was the one that Reed brought to the table.
Wow.
And I know it was very, I'm like, oh, and they all worked together and they were super nice, but they, you know, they all had like an established rapport. Exactly. Mm. So we had 15-minute segments throughout the day. So in one day, you know, we covered from 10:45 to 7.
Whoa.
So it was a ton of stuff. And we would sit down and say in the morning and be like, okay, you take this one and you take this one. And we paired up a lot. And it was that was something entirely new for me. Like that much, one, being on camera, which is already nerve-wracking. And just that much kind of, I really like to be prepared. Like I even will spend usually too much time preparing and have 5,000 questions. And this was just not, we didn't have time to do that. And also the segments were so short that kind of helped in that regard. So we had, we had a lot of gaming stuff, which I'm not a gamer much. So, you know, I let the Twitch people who are very much gamers handle those, but we had some cast through. So like we had the cast of The Expanse, Shadowhunters from Freeform, Teen Wolf, Man in the High Castle, some executives from Amazon that they just had a panel there. We didn't get any of the Marvel TV people, which I was kind of, I was supposed to be able to interview John Barenthal, who played Punisher in Daredevil, and I thought was so great in that role. And they just started filming the Punisher standoff, or not standoff. Spin-off? That's a different thing. Spinoff, that's the one. Last week, but he wasn't able to make it. So, and then we had some comics people, like we talked, RK is doing a really cool, like a few books for the Labyrinth 30th anniversary comics. And
oh, wow.
Yeah, so it was just a really
eclectic.
Yes, that's exactly the word. It just kept me on my toes, and it was bizarre. It was sort of like
I did see that you were at the Loot Crate reveal of a Harry Potter box.
Yeah, they're doing a Wizarding World specific box.
That must have been fun for you, because I know you're a fan.
Yes, and then they wouldn't tell us anything that was in it.
And
I was kidding? Like, oh, yeah, so it was, I'm like, I am so excited about this, and they couldn't tell us anything. So that was, from a fan perspective, I'm like, oh, I want to know. And also from an interviewer's perspective, I'm like, what are we going to talk about for 15 minutes?
You always speculate. You know there's going to be a Funko Harry and a Funko Voldemort.
And a t-shirt.
A t-shirt.
Maybe a miniature Nimbus.
Yes, we can hope. And I like the cool thing they did talk about, or at least hinted at that they're doing, is you choose your house, I guess, when you sign up for the crate, so that you will once in a while get a house specific.
Oh.
Which I think is cool.
That's cool. You know, after I saw that on your Twitter feed, I went to perhaps look into it, and they were all sold out. I was sad.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they sold out quick. So you did a good job.
Good. Yes, that's all me. I take all the credit. Not that people like Harry Potter. And I'm excited that they're doing that. Like, I love the Funko boxes, but I'm glad that it's going to be something else that's not, 100% Funko stuff.
Yes, I agree with that. I agree. Now, do you have like any cool backstage stories? I do remember on your Twitter seeing some pictures from backstage.
Yeah, it was really fun and sometimes cozy. We had a very small green room attached to the stage, and that green room was by steps that kind of went. It was like steps that descended to, like, I didn't know where they went. I guess I should have looked, but they go downstairs under the Javits somewhere, and apparently like talent, like it's a secret passageway that I think talent could use without trying to navigate the very, very crowded floor.
And you didn't go down there between every segment?
No, I should have. And I'm like, why didn't I do that? I meant to several times.
Was it one of those tunnels where people are constantly just like, oh, didn't he go down there? I didn't see him come back up.
Where did they go? There's just people wandering around still.
Giant rats take him away at this rat world.
I think it could happen. I mean, New York City has they have very big rodents. I feel like I've heard that urban legend. Now we know where they all live and how they get big. They're eating Javits Convention Center attendees who wondered where they weren't supposed to.
Oh, that's not an urban legend.
Cautionary tale. But I think one of my favorite moments is we had the cast of, we had from Doctor Who, we had Peter Capaldi and Pearl Mackie, who's playing the new companion. And then we also had, right after that, the bunch of, kids, who, because they are kids to me, they're teenagers, playing the series called Class. I'm like, what is it called? The new Doctor Who spinoff that's set in the same world, but is kind of like a Buffy the Vampire tone.
Oh, okay.
So what was fun about that was Peter Capaldi was there, and he, bless his heart, it was so nice, but I could tell he was very tired. Mm-hmm. And he talked with me for a second before we went on stage, and I don't normally do the picture thing, but I'm like, this is Peter Capaldi. I'm doing the picture thing. And that's mostly just because I always look so, I don't like myself in pictures. So I usually just try to remember the moment. But I did with him, and he took the picture and talked, and he's like, do you mind if, I'm not going to do his British accent because I can't, but he's like, do you mind if I sit down for a minute? I'm very tired. I'm like, yeah, it's okay. Yes, Peter Capaldi, like, please sit down.
Oh.
Okay. And then the lady playing the new companion was just super sweet and so excited to be there. And my favorite thing was when I stayed on stage, like they took the Doctor Who people off and brought the Class people on, and I could see her in the wings sticking around for the Class stuff and taking pictures like of the kids up there. Like this is their first convention that they're coming out at in the, visiting in the US. And she was just so excited for them as well. And I thought that was adorable.
Aw, that's awesome.
Oh, it's fun to hear those backstage stories from people who are there backstage that the muggles like ourselves, we don't get a chance to see.
It's interesting to be there sometimes and to observe, like, just especially from the celebrity side, like who's nice and who's just kind of eh.
Yeah.
Is there anyone that was kind of eh?
There were some people, yeah.
Yeah, like who?
Okay.
I won't name specific like shows, but a few people from the MTV casts.
Oh,
let's just that. Yeah, I was like, I know, I'm like, way to be stereotypical, guys.
The next time one of those MTV kids gives you trouble, you can go over to them and say, hey, do you know who Martha Quinn is? If they say no, that's my point.
That's great advice.
Feel free to use that one.
I like that. Then
I'm going to be one of those tweeters, I guess. Who is Martha Quinn?
She was one of the original MTV VJs back in '82.
And what happened to her?
Exactly.
Oh.
Yeah.
She was like the biggest thing. She was America's darling. Everyone knew Martha Quinn. But a couple of years later, when the new VJs came through, no one heard from these other older VJs anymore. So what I'm talking about is you enjoy your 15 minutes of fame.
Yes, because if you're not, I feel like being nice is.
Yes.
Well, at least the part of me hopes that being nice goes a long way.
Yeah,
Yes.
because when you're not in the spotlight anymore, people are going to say, oh, yeah, I remember her. She wasn't that nice. We don't want to work with her. That's what you call Hollywood.
Yeah.
Do you have any plans to moderate any future panels, like maybe, say, at Star Wars Celebration in Orlando?
Maybe.
Oh.
Maybe.
If only we could see her face.
Yeah, right?
It's not official yet, but I think maybe you can look forward to seeing me do some stuff at Celebration. Let's put it at that.
Okay.
Wow. When will that news be officially revealed?
I have no idea.
Probably in January, I'm guessing.
Yeah, say last year I think I don't know if I was a last minute, but it was kind of late in the game, but I think that will not be the case this year. So we'll see.
Wow.
All right. Well, you know what? If anyone has any questions about New York Comic-Con or anything that you're working on, you're working on like a billion things at once, how can they get a hold of you on social media?
Please hit me up on Twitter or Instagram at Amy_geek, and you can ask me about everything except upcoming Star Wars novels, but about which I apparently don't know much, except that they're happening and I'm going to read them as they come out.
And if you have any hard-hitting questions for Amy, wait until you meet her in person, then ask her.
Yes, this is what we've learned.
I'll start carrying around like a unicorn mask. That wouldn't be a sign at all.
Yeah, so wait a minute. Amy just put on her mask. Okay, we know that it's true. One of the highlights every Halloween is Mickey's Halloween party at Disneyland. However, this year, the tickets for the entire season were sold out before we were able to whip out our credit card.
Luckily for us Skywalkers, Louella Laureola was quick on the draw and got her tickets. So now she is here with us so we can live vicariously through her.
Hey, Louella.
Hey, Richard and Sarah. How are you guys?
We are excited to hear all about Mickey's Halloween party. Let's see. Well, first of all, the most important question. How many bags of candy did you leave the park with?
Well, we had to bring extra bags. The bags they give you are quite small. So if I would count the bags that they gave us, if I would have counted, it was clearly 10. But we filled up 2 large bags. And after a while, I said, that's enough. We don't need that much candy.
Yeah, last year we had to go to Party City and get the big Force Awakens bags.
Yeah.
And we filled those to the brim. Then we ended up just giving it away to the neighbors so they can give it away on Halloween night.
Yes, they're very generous with their candy, and it's good candy, too.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's all name brand stuff.
Like Reese's.
I'm glad to hear that you brought your own bags. And you can always tell the first timers because they don't. They just get those little tiny bags they hand out that you can fit like a Chunky and a Snickers.
Right.
Yes.
And you're pretty much done for the night.
Yeah, that's at probably just one trick-or-treat station and you're done with those little bags.
Yeah.
Oh, they thought this one through.
Who did you go with?
Well, I went with one of my sons who's 5 years old, and we went last year, the 2 of us. So it's kind of been our little annual thing, and we had a lot of fun.
Aww.
When did you get your tickets? Because we just missed out on it.
We got them as I purchased them as soon as they went on sale. So I want to say it's way back in July when I bought these tickets. So it was really advanced, and it was so early. I literally almost couldn't find my tickets when I was going through all my emails.
Or like almost forgot about it?
Yeah, almost forgot about it. But, they sell out. And they sell out pretty quick. So I just wanted to assure that we would go.
So you went, let's see, on a Tuesday night?
I went on a Monday night.
Oh, Mondays. I didn't know they were doing Mondays.
Yeah,
wow.
They do Monday, I think Wednesday, Friday. They have a couple nights. Some nights start at 7. The Monday started at 6, which is one of the reasons I chose that because my son can only stay awake so long. So we chose the early.
Then give him more candy.
I know. Considering he stayed awake pretty long, but that's one of the reasons why I chose a Monday date.
Then you can sugar him up and send him to school the next day.
Oh, yeah. Sugared up and salted up with the potato chips. There was a lot of goodies that they gave.
Yeah. Now you're the school system's problem. Move. Get out. Go to school. Was there ever a hesitation on your part to go this year? Because we hesitated only because of the whole costume restriction.
For adults.
I don't think I had a hesitation. I think I was just more excited because I heard there was a new parade, and that's something I really enjoy. And even though they had these costume restrictions, I have to say that I don't know if they were necessarily strict, but I didn't feel that some of the adult costumes were as restricted. I saw some long costumes as long as they weren't touching the ground. I saw some pretty good costumes. So maybe I think when the rules were set, it was a while back, but I didn't find anyone that was turned away.
So, like, adults were wearing pretty full-on costumes?
Yeah, I saw some adult costumes that were touching the ground. I think the rules were as long as it's not dragging on the ground, but I saw some costumes that were quite elaborate, and I always love to look at all the other people's costumes.
Yeah, that was one of the highlights of the times when we went, was just to show off our costumes and see other people's costumes and compare and contrast. It was like Comic-Con, but at Disneyland.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure maybe some people held back. Maybe there are people that would have gone much more elaborate. But I think that, in general, I saw some really good costumes.
And, of course, there are less slave Leias at Disneyland than there would be at Comic-Con.
Yes.
Now, what about you? What did you and your son dress as?
Well, we had a lot of fun. I am really excited about the new movie Moana. So I made my own costume and I went as Moana. And what was exciting was the giveaway bag, the little bag that they gave you. It's usually an advertisement. And so one side was Moana. And so that was really exciting. And a lot of people who recognized my costume were very excited about it.
So how many arguments and fights did you cause because of your costume?
None.
Why?
Because of the whole Moana controversy and this is what Hawaiians should look like.
That's only for Maui.
Yeah, I think it's for the Maui character.
Moana, not Moana.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. So you were safe. You played it safe.
I played it safe. And it was a really nice, I guess I was helping advertise the movie.
So they can't turn you away.
Yeah.
Well, just like you helped advertise the movie with friends at the Run Disney, Disneyland marathon.
Yeah. I'm recycling that costume, actually. That was just my same costume.
So people recognized you as the Moana characters?
I think those that are excited about the movie. But there are some people who asked me, who are you? And I just pointed to the bag, and then they got all excited. It's like, oh my gosh, it's not even
whoa, you're ahead of the curve.
Yeah. And then some people asked me where I got it from, and I told them I made it. So.
Aww. Well, what about your son? What did he dress as?
And there's this cartoon on the Disney Junior channel called Jake and the Neverland Pirates. So my son was Jake from Jake and the Neverland Pirates. And so he was a pirate, and we had a lot of fun because actually Captain Jack Sparrow was one of the characters we went to. And since he was a talking character, he was very animated with my son, and it was great. It was great to see that.
Were there any Star Wars photo ops?
No. Oh, yes. No, actually, I take that back. There were stormtroopers.
Okay.
Yeah, there were stormtroopers, but the whole Star Wars launch bay is actually a trick-or-treat station.
Whoa. Oh.
Really?
So you can go through there, and then they did have Kylo Ren and Chewbacca open. So after the trick-or-treat station, you can go line up and take pictures. But they were not outside. They were in their meet and greet area.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Huh. So yeah, there were some Star Wars one. Yeah, it was actually in the program too. Star Wars meet and greet.
Did you know that Kylo Ren is leaving? October 12th is his last day. October 13th, Vader's coming back.
Oh, I think
people want Vader. Yeah. Vader's giving him the boot.
Yeah, even in the line, the Kylo Ren wasn't that long, but the Chewbacca was long.
Ah.
Yeah, well, they want to advertise for Rogue One, too.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, and I think it keeps it fresh when they alternate it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I like the interaction with Kylo Ren.
Oh, so cool.
Yeah.
What was the ratio to Rey costumes to the Disney costumes?
Oh,
They figured Rey's going to be the most popular Star Wars costume.
Yeah, there was a lot of Reys. There was even adult Reys, kid Reys, male Reys. There was all kinds of Reys. And the great thing, they had a Jedi Academy going on that night. So there was 3 Jedi training academies. So there was a lot of Star Wars, and we watched it. We didn't participate in. My son has already done it, so in his eyes he's already a Jedi, so he didn't need any more training. But we watched it, and also the great thing, if you know exactly what you want to do, like if you want to just do rides, all the rides were just, the longest ride we stood on was 15 minutes, and that was for Star Tours, because that was something the two of us wanted to do. So it's a great night to ride rides as well.
What about Ghost Galaxy?
Ghost Galaxy, I'm pretty sure wasn't that long. My son's a little bit afraid of that one, so we can head off over there. But honestly, the rides, it's a great time to ride rides because I think a lot of people are trick-or-treating. So it's, if you want to do both, it's great.
Well, if you spend, $90 on a ticket, you want to make it all on the candy.
Yeah, that's true. But, we did a combination of both, so it was great. We did some trick-or-treating, we rode some rides, and, I maximized my time there because you're right, I spent a lot of money.
Yeah. So was there anything on your must-do list?
Yes, the parade was on my must-do list, and I was not disappointed with the parade because I think in the past it wasn't quite an elaborate parade. It was kind of characters marching down. So this was essentially a new parade with a lot of villains. It wasn't a very long parade, but I think it was very well done.
So I'm so excited to hear about this parade, actually. So, where were you? Where did you see it? And can you take us through the parade?
So they do show the parade 2 times in the evening. We actually did not prepare very well. There was an 8:30 time, and we got there 8:20. Well, it's hard to get a good seat at 8:20. So I think we had a decent spot. But the parade starts at the Small World area, and before the parade, they actually have the Headless Horseman come through, which was really, really neat looking. And he was very ominous. He didn't run. It's not like the horse is running through the park, but it moves really slow, and it's very creepy. Creeped out my son, but I enjoyed it.
Was it a real horse?
It's a real horse, yes. It's a real horse. It's really nicely done.
Was it a real Headless Horseman?
Well, he didn't have a head. He was holding his pumpkin, so I would say he's real.
They really go for the authenticity.
Yeah.
For their Halloween nights.
And I watched it on Main Street, so they did show projections on Main Street, which was really nice. And I enjoyed that. And then afterwards, right after the Headless Horseman, a couple minutes later, the parade begins.
Okay.
How'd the other kids react to the Headless Horseman? Because that can be kind of freaky.
Yeah, it can be kind of freaky, but I think everyone was just fascinated. So my son was a little freaked out, but nothing to say that he wanted to leave. In fact, he enjoyed the parade so much. We watched the 10:30. He said he wanted to see it again. So he fought and stayed awake to watch the parade again. And I would suggest if anyone is going to watch the second showing because it wasn't as crowded, and I think a lot of that during that time a lot of kids are already falling asleep, so people are leaving. So we had a great seat at the at the 10:30 showing.
So I guess around 10:15 starts the sugar crash.
Yeah, I would think so. So.
Okay. So after the Headless Horseman, what's our first float?
Oh gosh.
Let's just cut to the chase. What are the Star Wars floats?
There is no Star Wars float, but it's all villains. I couldn't remember the order, but there is. One of my favorites was the Nightmare Before Christmas float.
Now, did they have the freaky Jack Skellington, the one with where you see half the performer's mouth and the other half is an actual Jack Skellington mask, or was it all animatronic?
It's the whole face, I think. I didn't see the mouth moving, and they're on the float. So they're not really up close. So it's definitely a mask.
Yeah, because I know the one that you can take pictures with, half his face is the eyes and the nose of Jack, but then the lower half where his mouth is, it's just, you can see the performer's face and it's painted all white. So it looks very freaky.
Yeah, that sounds freaky. No, I think it's the whole face, actually.
Okay.
I mean, the whole mask.
The whole mask. Huh.
And then the Haunted Mansion float is fantastic. Yes, they have the 3 hitchhiking ghosts on the float, and prior to that, they have these zombie ballroom people dancing. So
how fun! What were their costumes like? Could you tell what color they were, or did they light up?
Well, the costumes are very dark. Okay. They different colors. It's kind of like a full ballroom costume. But their makeup, they're zombies. Even my son said those look like zombies.
Did they smell like gingerbread?
No, they didn't. But they have a whole routine. It's very beautiful, and it's supposed to be the ballroom scene. So it was very well done.
Wow,
that's cool.
What else did they have for the Haunted Mansion in terms of the parade?
Well, I think it's just they had I think it was just the float of the hitchhiking ghosts, but the sides of the float. I want to say they're like TV screens. So there's almost like scenes from the Haunted Mansion playing. It's very well done. It's a very nice looking float. I was thoroughly impressed. And then they had the gentleman, if you go through the Haunted Mansion, it's not there currently because it's Nightmare Before Christmas, but it's the guy that's holding that little light with the skinny dog.
Do you remember?
Yes. Yeah. Well, the dog's not there, but the guy holding the lamp, he's like at the back of the float.
Okay.
Looking really frightened and scared. So it's very good.
Wow. What about the Hatbox Ghost?
Ooh.
I don't think I saw the Hatbox Ghost, so that's probably one thing that's missing.
Now that he's back, he doesn't want to leave his mansion.
Yes.
Yeah, if I leave, they won't let me back in. I know a good thing when I see it. I'm wondering why it took them so long to get a Haunted Mansion float for their Halloween parade.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure, but it's exciting that they finally did it. And then the finale is one large float that has, you think of the villain and that villain is there.
Wow.
Like Maleficent. Well, they have the Maleficent dragon at the top, but like the evil, like
Cruella?
Cinderella.
Cruella, stepmother.
Cruella. Yes, Cruella, the stepmother, Jafar, Captain Hook, Queen of Hearts. It's great. It's very well done.
Disney accountant.
Yeah.
Oh.
Should be there. So yeah, that was really something I really wanted to see, and I would say is probably one of my most favorite things.
Awesome.
Wow. Now what about the fireworks show?
Well, unfortunately, because I went Monday and it was windy, the fireworks got canceled. So that was probably one little disappointment. But, you can't control the weather.
Right.
So, but yeah, that's one thing about Disneyland. You never know what the Santa Ana winds.
Right.
That's true.
So at the very end, how was your son? What's his name?
My son is Dominic.
And he's been how many years?
2 years.
Is he excited to go again? Is this something that is always on his list?
Yeah, it was very cute because at the end, before he passed out after the 10:30 parade, he was like, "This was the best night ever." Because he's 5 and he's very animated. So it makes that because it's difficult when you pay and you bring out that credit card. You're like, "Oh my God," But those were the moments that made it worth it. So
right, but when you say something like that, it's like, oh, money well spent.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's fun to dress up. I mean, I really enjoy the opportunity to dress up, and I would really say I don't think it was as restrictive as I was expecting.
Okay. Yeah, there's one thing to post it online, oh, adults can't wear this, but to actually implement it there and turn people away, I think that's much harder to do.
Well, if Secret Squirrel was on duty, he would have been turning everyone away.
Who's that? Secret Squirrel.
It's true. Oh.
So when you go back next year, what is something that you'll take from this year and use it then? Like, is there a one ride that you're going to run for because at the 5 minutes later, the line is going to be humongous?
I think I did plan pretty well because I went last year, and so one of the things that a lot of people don't know is that Toontown is actually open an hour before the party starts. And that is where you can see the Fab Five dressed in their Halloween costumes. That was one thing I really enjoyed. Kind of makes the night, because you only have 5 hours, so it makes it 6 hours.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, you can take advantage of Toontown, because it's only open for 2 hours. So it's only open an hour before and an hour after. So that's always my go-to, because last year I didn't know that.
Ooh.
And I missed out on that. And this year I said, we're going. We're going. That's the first stop we're going to.
Oh, nice. I'm glad you guys got to. That's a great tip. For any
and because it's expensive, so you might as well. You can start trick or treating right away because it's open 1 hour before.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, good to know. Very good to know.
Well, how did this year's Halloween party compare to your previous experience?
I think because of the parade itself, I think it was better. I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. I think the trick or treat stations were similar in the past, so that really didn't change too much. I would say last year, I think this year they have a lot more PhotoPass people, which was great. So if you have an annual pass or if you purchase the PhotoPass card, really take advantage of that, because at night an iPhone can't take a really good picture. So they still have characters throughout the night, but I know that my previous year, a lot of my pictures didn't turn out, and they didn't have as many PhotoPass people. But this year, every single character had a PhotoPass person. Yeah, there's just so many more benefits that I saw with this year.
That is a good tip, because I do remember that from, I think, last year. You wait in that hour line to get to get pictures with like 3 villains in a row or the princesses in your costumes, and yeah, they don't turn out. So that's, when we get the photo pass on our passes, that's great.
Yeah. And then if you don't have a photo pass, like, bring a better camera. 'Cause the iPhone flash can only do so much.
Yes, that's true.
Well, it sounds like you and your son had a fantastic Halloween night there. And you know what? Just for the fun of it, tell him that you're going to go again, but bring him to Not Scary Farm.
Oh. When he gets older.
No. Do it
and
now.
I don't think we'll pose for pictures there. It's a little bit too scary.
It'll be really funny to see him age.
Oh, that's so mean.
But yeah, I would definitely encourage anyone. Right now it's sold out, but if you have tickets, just make the most of it. If you have an annual pass, they do have an annual pass gift at the Opera House, which was a bag, so that was nice.
Oh, was it a drawstring bag?
It's a different bag. It was kind of like a shopping bag. So I guess they change the gifts every year. So it was nice.
Well, I'm glad you reminded everyone to get there early, because last year we forgot about that and we got there just when we thought the party was beginning, but little did we know we could have been there 2 hours earlier and really maximized our time.
Yeah, you actually can come 3 hours before. So whatever is the start time, ours was 6 o'clock. We started at 3.
Okay.
And then, if you go to Toontown, you head over there at 5. So you can really maximize your trick-or-treat time, the character time, and also, get some time to fit in rides in there. So,
awesome.
You can make it worth your money.
Oh, good deal. Now, if anyone out there wants to get in touch with you and ask a question that we've forgotten or ask anything about Mickey's Halloween party, how can they get a hold of you?
Well, I'm on Twitter at Louella32, and I am also on Facebook. It's just my full name, Louella Laureola. I love to meet new people, and I'm also in the Skywalking Through Neverland page, so I post in there too. So anytime you have any questions, feel free to ask.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Louella, and I know you're always so inclusive of people when they do contact you, so we appreciate that.
Well, thank you, and as always, I love your podcast, so keep doing what you do.
That wraps up episode 140 of
Skywalking Through Neverland. We would like to thank Amy Ratcliffe, Jocasta Drew Kaplan,
Louella Laureola,
and our Skywalker family for listening. Now, like we said before, we want to get your Skywalker Halloween story. So do you have one revolving around Star Wars and Halloween, or Disney and Halloween? Something that you always like to tell during Halloween. If you're meeting some new friends, or you're just recounting some old favorite memories, something fun, something that you love to tell. So please send that in.
Yes, email us, share@skywalkingthroughneverland.com.
Also, if you have just a Skywalker moment you want to tell, something like, hey, you know what? I went trick-or-treating, and I knocked on the door, said trick-or-treat, and Mark Hamill opened the door. It was him!
Or you tried to go trick-or-treating at Mark Hamill's house.
Yes, I did go trick-or-treating once at Mark Hamill's house.
Until the restraining order.
Yeah. So if you have a story so to finish that story, there was just a bowl outside of his house.
Saying take one?
No, take one, yeah.
Aww.
So you thought it meant the bowl?
And, well, you did try to knock, right? You did try to
I did try to knock, saying, hey, you know what, my kid broke his leg, so I didn't see the note. I'm so sorry, but I knew someone... Maybe I shouldn't be saying this, but I knew someone was home because I was watching.
Oh.
So I knew...
It sounds like a Sheldon story. Yes, it does, Joey.
So
my goodness.
If you have a Skywalker Halloween moment or a Skywalker's Halloween story, please let us know right away so we can include it in the next couple of shows.
That's right.
So, Sarah, where do they send those in?
They send it to share@skywalkingthroughneverland.com.
All right, now let's remind everyone about our Skywalking Through Neverland Awesome Jingle Mix Volume 1 by Rob Dellinger.
Our podcast soundtrack! It is on iTunes. It's available now, and it's available on all other digital platforms as well. So please, just search Skywalking Through Neverland Awesome Jingle Mix Volume 1. Buy it and help support Rob Dellinger and all the awesome things he does for our show.
Now, speaking of awesome things, you can find a lot of awesome podcasts on RetroZap.com, like shows like... Dave, what's your favorite RetroZap show?
Oh, I love Brews and Blasters. You know, I'm always talking about that.
You are.
That's true.
What other shows do you like on RetroZap?
Techno Retro Dads.
Uh-huh. What else?
Well, if you're into gaming, there are several gaming podcasts, including ARGcast.
Hardcast.
That's what I said.
Yeah?
Trade Federation podcast that keeps you to date on all things Star Wars card trader apps from Topps.
Yeah. What else? What's your favorite RetroZap show other than Skywalking Through Neverland?
Well, Talking Apes TV is just all right.
Yeah, it's
it's
out there.
Yeah. And then there's Deucecast.
The Deucecast movie show?
Yes.
But you know what? Go back to Talking Apes TV.
I'd rather not.
Would you call that an Urco-tastic show?
I don't know. I mean, does it really reach the level of Urco-tastic?
Yes, and.
I don't know. You tell me. You know what? How about the listeners? Our next episode is coming out next week. You tell us if this episode is Urco-tastic or if it's more on the Urco-less side.
And now, what is this episode called?
I don't know. Marco Gushowitz talks Apes TV.
It's called Attack from the Clouds.
Are you sure it's not Attack Above the Clouds or Attack to the Clouds?
Or Attack of the Clouds?
Moving right along. All right, now, speaking of fun stuff, Dave, grab a hold of something because Sarah's about to reveal her big Halloween T-Public shirt. All right, Dave, drum roll. Dave, stop the drum roll. All right, listen up. I'm so excited about this. Sarah's going to reveal her Halloween Skywalking Through Neverland mashup t-shirt. Dave, are you ready? Dave, are you sitting down?
I am sitting down, but I'm not ready.
How about now?
I'm still thinking about Urgotastic.
All right, Sarah, tell us what it is.
It's nothing!
Boo!
Oh, that was
lame.
Boring.
I didn't have time. I'm sorry.
Get a life.
All that build-up? And that's it? That's all we have?
Yes.
You know, I woke up this morning and couldn't wait for it to hear about it.
I have pictures of our front yard, which is awesomely Star Wars.
That's not what we're talking about.
Oh, but Chica Pen says start working on the cruise shirt.
No.
I feel like there's a breach of contract going on
There is here. Sarah made all these lengthy promises last week that she would have something, but guess what? She's got nothing. Not a thing.
Not even pumpkin pie anymore.
No.
Guess who doesn't get that other half of the pumpkin pie that's sitting in the fridge?
I only wish I had a Skywalking Through Neverland Halloween mashup t-shirt, but it looks like I'll never get one.
It's okay, Richard.
Maybe not this year.
Do it for the children.
I wish I could, but I can't.
I have to start earlier, like in August. I know.
Well, you know what, Skywalkers? If you want to write in and complain to Sarah that you have got no Skywalking Through Neverland Halloween mashup shirts, Sarah, what would they call and complain?
Well, you know where you can tweet your hashtag Skywalker selfies to us? You can tweet that at SkywalkingPod. We are at SkywalkingPod for Twitter, Instagram, Periscope, and Snapchat.
Now, I'm going to take a selfie of myself with a very saddened look. Very saddened look.
Okay, are you going to tweet that? Because you can tweet.
So, Skywalkers, we want to see your saddened look, okay? So tweet in your saddened selfies to Sarah, because looks like this year, much like the Great Pumpkin, never going to come.
You know what, though? We have a new Redbubble shop that has our Skywalking Through Neverland logo with some really awesome, puts our logo on some really awesome things, like a 55-inch by 55-inch scarf, which you can then, hang up and be like this giant sign, which
or a Halloween
might
shirt.
have ordered that. And then also on Redbubble, you have a, a mug, or a travel mug, or all kinds of things that have that design. Shirt. So exciting.
Or you can always send us a review and say, hey, this would have been a great podcast had we had a Halloween shirt to wear while listening to it.
Hey!
Well, I'm just saying, they don't have to.
I got to back Rich on this one.
They don't have to write that in a review, but if they want to write a review saying, boy, this would be such a fun show if only we had a Skywalking Through Neverland Halloween mashup shirt.
But the Christmas BB-8s are still available, so you can plan for that.
But they couldn't wear that on Halloween. That'd be going against the grain. What if Secret Squirrel were to find that? He would not be happy.
He wouldn't be.
Not at all.
I think he wanted the Halloween shirt.
You know what? Scopewalkers, they're heckling me. I don't appreciate it.
No, we're mocking you.
Yes.
It's totally different.
I'm just making observations.
All right, well, if you want to join our Facebook group, once again, search Facebook for Skywalking Facebook group and then request to join. And you can email us, share@skywalkingthroughneverland.com. And remember,
never go to Alderaan if you're looking for a Halloween shirt.
Neverland on Alderaan.
Some imagination, huh?
to our Skywalkers and Tweetwalkers, thanks for listening. Skywalking Through Neverland is created and produced by Richard and Sarah Woloski. Original music by Rob Dellinger. Creative consultant Mark Augushowitz. Technical advisor Peter Heitman. Facebook administrators Donald Wicks, Joey Pittman, and Norma Heitman.
Skywalking Through Neverland is intended for entertainment and information purposes only. Any sounds, music, and clips played during this podcast are the property of their copyright holders. All original content is property of Skywalking Through Neverland, all rights reserved. Sorry, had to be said.
So
and
things
we want to share. Hey, Dave, can you lead us in on this one?
I sure can.
No, you gotta sing the song.
Oh, what's the song again?
Things we want to share.
Do 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 do.
Things we want to share.
Do 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 do.
Da 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 da.
Someone doesn't listen to our podcast that much.
Never mind.
No, I'm just kidding.
Hey, you know what? Is the Hunt family still tuned in here? Because if they are, you girls can see the Heather Hunt. Yeah, Heather Hunt. Hey, look at those pictures
Jeremy.
you had drawn for us.
Oh yeah.
There's Sarah and there's me.
Yeah.
We have them in our recording studio as we speak, and always and forever.
Oh.
That's our Skywalker family. Now back to the episode already in progress.
No song?
Dun, 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 dun.
We'll put it in post. All right. Let's see.
Oh, hold on.
Did you want to say that?
What? That's the song. I'm sticking with it.
You weren't on Rob Dellinger's album, were you?
I don't think so. I don't think he made the cut.
Not with that attitude.
Star Wars fan FL. Mine involves my grandpa, not Halloween. Well, you may be eligible after Halloween. For your story.
Yeah, so we want to hear some Skywalker stories, everybody. Halloween edition.
Yes.
Hold on, Dave. Sing us the Skywalker shout-out jingle.
Jay Pitty is doing a cut.
Dum 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 dum.
Shout-outs.
Skywalker
shout-outs.
Hey,
Which
with the
Skywalkers
monkeys.
get props?
From here to Neverland.
Who has tweeted out?
Shout out.
Who has shared a post?
Shout out.
Who has photobombed?
Shout out.
La 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 la. Okay, I forget the rest.
Dum 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 dum.
Gotta get in the spirit with the song.
Definitely.
And definitely take him like Universal. He'll love it.
Yeah, right?
Just say, wow, they really changed around Disneyland, didn't they?
Now joining us for a spoiler-free review of Ahsoka is our acclaimed Jocasta Drew. Bleh!
Is acclaimed Jocasta Drew. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Hey, Jocasta Drew.
Hey, Richard.
1, 2, 3.
Hey,
Jocasta Drew.
You said Jocasta.
Did I say
What
Jocasta?
the hell?
Let's go with the Hey, Jocasta Drew again.
Yes.
All right. Get it
1,
right
2,
this time.
3. Hey, Jocasta.
Why am I saying Jocasta? Why am I saying that? Who is Jocasta? All right. 1, 2, 3. Hey, Jocasta Drew.
Hey, Richard and Sarah.
Hey.
Well, thank you for having me back, and I did not realize I was acclaimed, so that's awesome.
I didn't know you were acclaimed either.
You
Where'd
are
you get
now.
this?
That was awesome.
I said that.
Thank you for acclaiming me.
What? And now there's an alarm.
Okay.
That was a lot of editing. We haven't even started.
All right, so ready?
Well, I have just a kind of a fan question for me. Now, are you a Gilmore Girls fan?
Yes.
Okay, I saw that you went to the pop-up shop for Luke's Diner in Manhattan, I'm assuming?
I think that was in Manhattan.
Okay.
I sometimes just walk around New York. I don't know what part I'm in.
Oh, you know what?
Which could be dangerous.
Right.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Well, so I'm asking you because we actually went to one that morning, but the line was like literally around 3 blocks, and we didn't have time that morning. So we like literally drove around the block, saw the line, and went, okay, we're going home now. So,
but let's not forget about the most important part. What time was it?
It was 7 a.m.
Yes.
Whoa! I was going to ask if you went. Wow.
So I'm wondering, how was your experience, and how long was the line, and like what happened?
Did you wear a backwards baseball cap and a flannel?
I'm gonna live vicariously through you.
If only I would have had those things with me. I thought about packing my flannel, but it got to the point when I left, there was no room in my suitcase.
Yes.
So I was like, well, but I lucked out then because New York had several locations, and I think like the closest one to me was still like almost 3 miles from the hotel, or 2 miles, which I would normally walk, but I took a red eye and I'd only landed 2 hours before. So I'm like, no, I'm not walking 2 miles just yet.
Okay. And then, so how long was the line and stuff?
The line, I think I met my friend there. She was in town for New York Comic Con at 11, and we only waited like 20 minutes.
Wow. Okay.
So yeah, we were super lucky and spoiled.
Okay.
Did they give out any kind of screeners to this upcoming Gilmore Girl series? New Netflix season? I guess they're calling it.
I wish they just gave out. Basically, the thing you got to take was the coffee cup, which had a Luke sleeve, and if you push down the sleeve, there was a quote about coffee. At least mine was about coffee. I assume all of them were from Gilmore Girls, and I think that some of them, like some of the cups, had like a free 3-month subscription to Netflix. Like you could win a prize.
Oh, that's something.
Oh, that's
It's amazing how many guys I saw cosplaying as Luke.
That's awesome. But I'm like, were they cosplaying? But if they were in that line, of course they were cosplaying.
Yeah. They had the backwards baseball cap. They didn't shave. They had the flannel. I thought it'd be funny just to go there as Luke Skywalker and say, "What? Oh, this is the wrong line. I'm sorry."
What a great mashup idea!
Yeah,
like Luke with a backwards cap, Skywalker,
and like a flannel shirt that has the Jedi belt or something. That's like,
you know what? You go walking into any Comic-Con or any convention, see if anyone gets that.
I bet they would. That's awesome.
I
will say my friend Jen, who I would have met to do this if I was in town, she went to the Beverly Hills location, and Scott Patterson, who plays Luke, was there serving giving people coffee. I know. I was like, you have got to. And he had a flannel shirt on and a backwards cap. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me.
That's awesome.
I was so happy for her.
Oh my goodness.
And a little jealous.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Hey, Jocasta Drew. One more time. 3, 2, 1.
Hey, Jocasta Drew.
But not you.
Yeah. That wraps up episode 140 of Skywalking Through Neverland.
Take 2. You didn't let us join in.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We want to play too.
Oh, me.
Am I invited this time?
My podcast. My Periscope. Only child.
Much like Mark Hamill, you can speak during this part.
Okay, here we go. So you're coming in when you say Skywalking. Ready? That wraps up Jocasta Drew Kaplan.
Louella
I can't remember the artist's name. Oh, it's funny.
You threw me into a mess for that one.
Dude, you couldn't get that one?
I think I did.
That's Louella Laureola.
That's what I said.
My bad then.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, so
a moment of silence for the shirts that aren't here.
That never were.
We need a song. You should have a theme song for the missing shirts.
I wish I had a Halloween shirt.
Oh my God.
I wish I had a Halloween shirt. Sarah never made a Halloween shirt, even though I bugged her every single day.